Hello, I'm Charles Lowther. Welcome to Askham Hall and the next of our seasonal films. Each month, we'll be exploring elements of this wonderful living estate, 1,000 years in the making. I hope you enjoy this next short film.
It's October and it's a very heavy sky with a lot of rain. Yes, it's definitely autumn's arrived. But it's a great time of year because we've had some really bumper harvests and we're still harvesting as I speak, yeah. The apple harvest, bumper apple harvest, the discovery, we just had crates and crates and crates of apples.
It's been excellent because we haven't had the droughts that we've had in previous years. It's been a really good growing season. We've had enough rain and sunshine. It's been steady, which is fantastic. Yeah, because we do get affected by frost quite often. So if we have a late frost, we might lose all our apples and not have any. Yeah. So we're always delighted when the blossom actually produces fruit.
And these are the wild apples.
It seeded itself many years ago, and
it collapsed. I don't know if it was earlier in the year in the windy weather. It must have been in the winter, wasn't it? Yeah, Colin asked us to see if we could graft it to save it, really. So we did. We grafted it, and it's quite vigorous, and a lot of them seem to have taken. And Colin would like to call it Lady Caroline. That's lovely blackberries, which have been really good this year, haven't they?
Yeah, that one's Loch Ness.
That one's Loch Ness, yeah, which is later than the other one that we've got, Waldo. So they're a pretty continuous crop.
So in planning the hillside garden 2 years ago, had to really think carefully about both the crops in the short term and in the long term. And an example of that is the Saskatoons and the Aronias and the Elaeagnus, which this year we cropped for the very first time, enough to give the chefs, and that was really satisfying. This year I trialled 8 different kales. Currently they're using one called Peacock Red. They're all beautiful plants to grow anyway. They look really gorgeous, but they also taste gorgeous, which is the important thing.
It's just looks so colourful, hasn't it?
Yeah, and we've got 8 different kales. A couple that we decided weren't going to do anything. No. But, and that's why it's good to try, isn't it? It's why it's good to try different ones.
And at this time of year, when everything else is waning, the kales just seem to come into their own and light up the hillside garden, don't they? It's fantastic.
The square garden, a new piece of ground that we took on earlier this year with 10 new beds and hotbeds, and it's different from the other 2 gardens in that it's in a very open space. There's no overhanging trees or anything, so we've put in some artichokes, which we actually were able to harvest a few this year, and going forward we're going to put in some more trees. I'm thinking quince, as we had a really good crop of quince this year. Planning-wise, I'm constantly thinking about what we can grow, how we can bring something new into the garden, and I'm not just looking to next year, I'm also looking to several years ahead. Even if I'm not gardening, it's on my radar always to think about if there's something I could use in the garden. So on a trip to Greece last year, I was given rock samphire on a dish, and so we put some plants in. It's really important that I keep the conversations going with the chefs, so that they know what I'm thinking about and going forward, and also to bring to the table what things that they might like to grow. But the onus is quite heavily on myself and the team, and actually it's fantastic because we have the opportunity to trial, to test. Part of the planning is, of course, to keep the succession of crops going through the summer and through the winter too. In the kitchen garden, we're really conscious of the need to be sustainable, and we feel that's a really important part of the business. The decision to go no dig from the start is paying off, and it works. I mean, proof is in what we're producing, isn't it? I mean, we really are sort of no chemicals, no pesticides, organic, and as little intervention in terms of digging and mechanical digging. We've sort of put all that aside, and it's probably the best decision we did, because you know, the biodiversity is there now. We're seeing the insect life, the wildlife. As a business, we're clearly trying to provide the kitchens and the chefs with produce, edible produce, throughout the year, in some shape or form. But at the same time, we're trying to tread lightly on the land. I think we can be really proud of what we've produced this year. Week after week, when you see those array of trays from edible flowers, you know, to herbs, root vegetables. So it's been really satisfying, and they're very lucky chefs.
So this is one of the desserts that's on the menu at the moment. It's very autumnally. We've got apples from the garden, we've got damsons from the garden, and we've got meadowsweet, which we picked earlier in the year, which we dried, and then we've made like a cream out of it. So I'm going to start by plating it up. We've got a little choux bun here. I'll take the top off that. I'm going to start piping a little bit of the meadowsweet cream in the bottom. I top that off with a bit of the apple compote. There's two types of apple here. We've got the Discovery apple, which we've roasted and made a little puree out of, and we've also got the Ashmead's kernel, which is quite sharp, which just sort of cuts through the actual meadowsweet cream. We're going to add a little bit more meadowsweet cream there. Top it with sesame tuile. I'm going to finish it with a little quenelle of damson sorbet. And that is it.